Communication to me means the exchange of meaning, and the medium becomes personal. So whether you take a photo, you give a speech, you share a song, you perform a poem, all of those are forms of communication that are designed to create an exchange with another person. Even if you think you're speaking in a monologue, there's someone on the other end of that string at some point, making it inherently a kind of dialogue.
Communications is one of those things that kind of furthered my development in being able to interact with different community members, because I was also an activist and organizer growing up, and I've always had like a very charismatic and social being, but communications helped me sharpen and kind of solidify how I use that skill so that it's not overwhelming for the people around me.
What draws me to journalism is that it's more about helping others understand the world around them, and representing the world in the way that's closest to the truth.
The study of English literature touches on these really fundamental skills, critical thinking skills, of course communication skills, but I think most importantly, it touches on our ability to understand what it's like to be another human being, to see the world through the eyes of another person. And that kind of empathetic imagination, I think, is a skill that will serve you in not only your professional life and academic life, but it's just one of those personal skills that are so important to develop that'll serve you throughout your life.
I like to emphasize that I can talk until I'm blue in the face with morsels of wisdom and advice, but it's really students being able to practice and engage and do things for themselves where things click.
It really teaches everybody that how to use your voice and how to become confident in your voice.
You have to be able to help people see what the plan is and why it's good for them, particularly when it comes to like environmental issues. We know all these big things are happening, but how do we get community involvement to happen? It really boils down to how we communicate it.
I like to highlight for students that employers are almost universally looking for people who have good communication skills, and alongside of that, an ability to kind of navigate some of the interpersonal relationships that they might have within the workplace.
Welcome.
Bienvenidos.
Our ESL's strength is the open nature of the program, and we welcome everybody.
My name is Victoria. I am from Belarus.
My name is Jim. I am from China.
I'm from Colombia. I am from El Salvador.
I have been studying English just one semester.
I have been studying here at City College for 4 years.
Can you please ask your friend the questions? And if you can't find it, ask Eli, because Eli knows all the animals.
Ricardo, is there a mural? Yes, there is.
Yes, there is.
I just recently took a little poll in the class, and we have 7 languages: Thai, Russian, Ukrainian, Spanish, Mandarin, Cantonese, Turkish. I had 2 Vietnamese speakers, but they weren't here today.
We're in this very complex point in time in this country when a lot of answers need to be, people need to understand why things are happening and what could be done about it. I always teach journalists, my students, that not just be satisfied with writing a story that tells the who, what, where, when, and why, but really look at that story and see, is there more to it? And what can you go after that story and develop it into something that's really insightful and maybe could lead to some social change.
Right now we're in an era where we listen to only what we want to hear and not listening to the whole story. We want the students coming in to go out and go to things that they oppose and listen to that, get other perspectives, something they may not have considered. And surprisingly, they're like, oh wow, I hadn't considered this, but it made me think about this, and it made me do that, and so forth. And it completes the story.
It's not just the ability to talk, it's not just the ability to show via visual communication, it's also the ability to listen and to receive. And that's something that I really think about in the language arts. People who get an English degree become better readers, and people who work in communication studies become better listeners and receivers of that information. And that, to me, is the beginning of making the world a better place. Because if we listen to each other a little bit differently, we might actually make the decisions that benefit us all together.